Hi there. Welcome back to Very Good Yoga with Billy. My name is Billy, and for today, we are going to do a full body vinyasa flow. Make sure that you have 2 blocks for class, and if possible, put 1 block somewhere at the back of the mat, and then your second block somewhere near the top of the mat. That's it. Let's get started. Come into a Tadasana at the top of the mat, please. So feet are together or about hips width distance apart. Close your eyes and keep your palms facing in towards the body. I know a lot of teachers like to do Tadasana with the palms facing forward, but that creates an external rotation in your shoulders, and I want you to find a more neutral position with the palms facing in. And then with your shoulders soft, reach your fingertips down to the floor. Press your feet down to lift your thigh bones up. Lift the crown of the head up into the ceiling. And then bring your hands to a prayer position at your heart. If you would like, please join me for one sound of Om. Take an inhale. Om. Start to flutter your eyes open and reach your arms out left and right to a T. I'm actually going to turn to face you so you can see what I'm doing here, but you're going to stay at the top of the mat. Turn your palms up, so externally rotate at your shoulders. And then with your arms straight and your palms facing skywards, reach the arms out in front of you and bring the pinky edge of your hand together to touch. Look at your thumbs and make sure that they're in line with the pinky. So find even more biceps up, triceps down. Keeping your gaze between the crease between your hands, lift your arms up, 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 up. And then when you cannot go up anymore, like once you find that sticky point, finish the movement, Urdhva Hasta. Inhale, arms high. And then lift your belly and forward fold on the out breath. You might need to bend your knees as you go from the upright position into this folded position. Inhale, halfway lift, look forwards. And then keep looking forwards as you step into your high push-up position. Find your Tadasana in your plank pose. So straighten out the legs and reach your heels back more. Press the floor away to spread the shoulder blades away from the spine as you inhale. Chaturanga is your exhale. Inhale, come up into a back bend, upward facing dog. Thighs are lifted. And then send it up and back into your downward facing dog, where we'll take about 5 rounds of breath. And maybe you start to fidget. Maybe you pedal out the feet in your down dog. Option to bend into the right knee and melt your left heel more to the floor. Come back through center and switch. Reach your right heel down, bend into the left knee, hold. Come back through center, find a more conventional downward facing dog. Look forward, heel, toe, hop or step to a forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up to stand, reach the arms up, look up, maybe see your palms touch. Keep the height, stay this tall, and come into a Tadasana, lower the arms down by your sides. Reach your arms out left and right to a T. Turn your palms up, externally rotate in your shoulders. With your palms lifted, reach the arms out in front of you and bring the pinky edges of your hands together to touch. Turn your thumbs down so that they're better in line with your pinkies. And with your gaze between the crease of the hands, lift the arms up. And eventually you're going to find that sticky spot and you're not going to be able to go up any amount higher. And when you get there, finish the movement, palms together. Inhale, Urdhva. And on your exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Keep your hands on the floor. Inhale, flat back. Look forward. Prepare for Chaturanga. Keep looking forward as you hop or step. Chaturanga, lower. Inhale, come up into your back bend. Press your toenails down to lift the legs up more. Downward facing dog, the hips go high. And what if I asked you to roll your biceps forward and your triceps back in downward facing dog? So I always feel like this kind of sounds like a weird cue, but you're trying to turn your armpits in to face your face. The crown of the head reaches to the floor. Your gaze stays at the back of the mat. Full breath in. And on empty, look forward, bend to the knees, hop, spring, or step to a forward fold at the top of the space. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up to stand, reach the arms up, look up, see the palms touch. Keep the height of this Urdhva Hasta shape and lower the arms by the sides, Tadasana. Okay, last time we'll do this. Reach the arms out left and right to a T. Externally rotate at the shoulders, turn your palms up into the ceiling. Keep your arms straight, reach them out in front of you until the pinky edges of your hands come together to touch. Turn the thumbs down so that they line up with your pinkies and begin to lift your arms up. Keep your gaze locked in right at the crease of your hands. And then once you cannot go up any amount higher, palms are together. Inhale, Urdhva Hasta. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, flat back. Look forward as you lower to Chaturanga. And then keep looking forward when you get to the bottom. Inhale is your back bend, Urdhva Mukha. And on your out breath, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. So keep reaching your heels and your calves to the floor. Press your thighs back into your hamstrings. And continue to lift your sits bones as high as you can. Inhale, downward facing. On empty, look forward, bend to the knees, hop, spring, or step to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Feet together. Inhale, chair pose. Bend deep into your knees and lift the heart and the chest up high. Look forwards. Bring your hands to the prayer at the heart. Come up to stand. Tadasana with the arms by the sides. So we'll do a round of Surya B. One breath, one movement. Inhale, chair pose. Big bend into the knees. Lift the heart and the chest up high. Belly to thighs, hands to floor. Forward fold is the exhale. Inhale, flat back. Prepare for Chaturanga. Exhale, Chaturanga to lower. Inhale's your back bend, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Ground your left heel down and step your right foot forward, warrior one. Inhale, come up to stand. Exhale, Chaturanga to lower halfway. Inhale, come up into your back bend, Adho Mukha. And on your exhale, this one's actually Adho Mukha. I used the wrong Sanskrit there. That's my bad. Ground your right heel down. Step your left foot forward. Warrior one. Inhale, rise. Exhale, Chaturanga to lower. Inhale's your back bend, Urdhva Mukha. And on your exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. So nothing too fancy, right? Just using these sun A's and sun B's to link our breath to movement. And frankly, it's not so much about the movement itself as much as it is the breathing. The breathing is the most important part of the practice. Inhale, downward facing. On empty, look forward, bend into the knees, hop, spring, or step into your forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale is full. Inhale, chair pose. Bend into the knees. Lift the heart and the chest up. Look forwards. Bring your hands to prayer at the heart. Come up to stand. Tadasana with the arms by your sides. Okay, last full round. Surya B. Inhale, chair pose. Last one of the day. Forward fold is your exhale. Inhale, flat back, long spine, including your neck. Keep looking forward as you chaturanga lower. Inhales your back bend, heart and chest is forward. Downward facing dog, send the hips up and back. Ground your left heel down, step your right foot forward. Virabhadrasana 1, inhale, come up to stand. And at the top of your inhale, exhale, chaturanga is lower. At the bottom of your exhale, inhales your back bend, Urdhva Mukha. And on your exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog, right heel down, left foot forward. Warrior 1, inhale, come up. And on your exhale, chaturanga to lower. Inhales your back bend, upward face. And on your exhale, downward facing dog for 5, 4, 3, for 2, full breath in on 1, on empty, look forward, bend into the knees, hop, spring, or step to a forward fold and pause. Bring your feet 2 fist width distance apart. Take your 2 peace fingers and toe lock your big toes for yoga toe lock. Press your thumbs on the yoga mat right in front of your big toe. Inhale, flat back. Exhale is fold. Bend into your elbows. But can you find that sensation of biceps forward and elbows back? So we create those chaturanga arms. We create that external rotation at the shoulders. For 3. For 2. Unlock your big toes on 1. Inhale, flat back. Padahastasana, slide your hands underneath your feet. I'm going to ask that you find that same external rotation in the shoulders with this fold. Biceps are forward, elbows point back. And most likely, you're not going to have the same kind of bend in the elbows that you did on the last side. Most likely that won't be the thing. For 3. For 2. Take your hands out from underneath your feet on 1. Inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips. Point the elbows up into the ceiling and come up to stand. Step your right foot to the back of the mat, please. Set up your legs as if you were about to come into straddle pose. So parallel your feet with the short edges of the mat and make sure that your hands are over the feet. Turn your right toes towards the back of the mat. Turn your left toes slightly in and up the mat and come into a triangle pose at the back of your mat. So your right hand will find a block or maybe your shin or the floor, as long as you're outside of the right foot if you're not on your shin. If you're looking for something to do with the gaze, look over your left shoulder. Reach your right hip down towards your inner left heel. And continue to firm the outer left hip in like you would do in Tadasana. Full breath in. And exhale, come up to stand. Come into that straddle setup once again. Make sure your hands are over your feet. Turn your left toes forward, your right toe slightly in and up the mat. Trikonasana triangle pose. Hinge at only your left hip. And place your hand on either your shin or somewhere outside of the front foot. Maybe look over the right shoulder. So there's a little bit of a twist here as you try to get your shoulder sideways with the floor. Reach your left hip down towards your inner right heel. And keep firming this back right hip in like you would do in a Tadasana. One more inhale. Come up to stand as you exhale and parallel your feet with the short edges of the mat one last time. Taking it into the fold, place your hands on your hips and point your elbows back. So it's almost like you're doing camel pose in the upper body. Lift your heart and chest up into the ceiling. Inhale, maybe look up a little bit. Keep the back bend. Press your feet down. Hinge at your hips and fold. Once you have folded as much as you can fold, put your hands on the floor so the heels of the hands line up with the heels of the feet. And you'll notice like you're going to lose that back bend a little bit as we go from that upright position into this folded position. So to try to get a little bit more back bend, could you reach the crown of the head to the floor and draw the shoulder blades down the backs away from the ears? For 3. For 2, inhale, flat back on 1. Hands on your hips. Point your elbows up into the ceiling and come up to stand. Step to a Tadasana at the top of the mat, please. Bring the right foot back to meet the left. Inhale the arms up. Press your feet down. Forward fold is the exhale. Option to take a Bakasana crow pose here. If you're interested in exploring the arm balance, plant your palms and put your knees in the backs of your triceps. Hug the elbows together. Try to roll your biceps forward. Press your palms down and lift your feet off the floor. So my hope is that you stay here if you are here for 5 to 8 rounds of breath. If you're not interested in arm balancing, you could always just hang out in this baby Malasana instead. If you took crow, could you shoot back and land in a chaturanga? And then either way, regardless of what you did do, regardless of what you didn't do, we'll all come back to downward facing dog. Okay. Bring your feet a little closer together and lift the left leg up into a 3-legged dog. Flex with the left foot, turn out the toes, bend the knee, open up your hip. And you could stay here. This is a very good place to be. We haven't even done this yet today. But if you would like to incorporate a bird dog in this open hip down dog, reach the right arm up and alongside the body and see if you can grab the left foot with the hand. The key to making that work, like the key to making that successful, is to slow float the right hand off the floor and not go fast. Go slow. Whoa. For 5, 4, 3, For 2, put your right hand down. Step your left foot as far forward as you can. Listen carefully. Reverse your warrior 2. So like as soon as you come up to stand, reach the left arm up into the ceiling and straighten out the front left leg, reverse triangle pose. This is where it gets a little bit more tricky. Keep the left arm going up, but turn your front left toes in. Keep the left arm where it is. Point your right toes to the back of the mat. Extended side angle. Put your right hand outside of the right foot. Or if you'd like the modification, just put your forearm on your thigh. Carve the outer right hip underneath you and try to straighten the back left leg a little bit more. Turn your chest up into the ceiling. And could you press the right thigh into the right arm? Reach the left arm straight up into the air and make your way into an Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose. So the back left leg will lift up and off the floor. Roll the inner right knee to the outer right knee. And then lift and straighten the lifted left leg a little bit higher. Full breath in. Warrior 2 is the out breath. Step your left foot to the back of the mat. And with a bend in the front right knee, inhale, reverse, tip back to downward facing dog. Don't vinyasa, just step back to downward facing dog. To come into dolphin pose, begin to bend into your elbows. Hug the forearms towards one another and see if you can drop your forearms and elbows at the exact same time. Make sure that your hands and forearms are parallel with one another. Keep your gaze between your forearms, and if it's appropriate, maybe you can walk your feet a little closer toward your face. So you get your hips elevated higher into the air. 5, 4, 3, for 2, press your way up to downward facing dog on 1. Ground your left heel down, step your right foot forward, and let's come up into Virabhadrasana A for 5 breaths. Go lower with your legs and your hips. Bend deeper into the front of the right knee. Reach the arms up into the ceiling. Imagine that the shoulders are somehow attached to the waistband as you lift your ring fingers high. Can you keep the length of the upper body? As you begin to lean forward 45 degrees, tuck the back left toes, lift the left heel. Warrior 3, lean forward and float the left leg off the floor. So ideally you want the arms in front of you with the biceps by your ears, but if you do have something in front of you like a door or a wall, modify with hands at prayer or do something else. You could even take supported. Straighten the left leg more and turn the left big toe to point down into the ground. Inhales, lengthen. Standing split into a forward fold. Step your left foot down to meet your right foot. Inhale, flat back, look forward, prepare for chaturanga. And on your out breath, chaturanga, lower halfway. Move through vinyasa, or maybe you skip it. Meet me back in downward facing dog with your hips up high. Bring your feet a little closer together and lift the right leg up into a 3-legged dog. Flex with the right foot, turn out the right toes, bend the right knee, and open up the hip. Again, you might stay here. But if this was good for you before, option to set up for that bird dog, down dog. Slow float the left hand up and alongside the body and see if you can grab the right foot. Keep your gaze locked in and press your right hand into the floor. For 5, 4, 3, for 2, put your left hand down. Step your right foot as far forward as you can. Reverse your warrior 2. As soon as you come up, reach the right arm up into the air. Keep the reverseness of the upper body and straighten out the front right leg, reverse triangle pose. Keep the right arm where it is. Turn your right toes in and up the mat. And then your left toes forward towards the original front of the mat. Extended side angle, Utthita Parsvakonasana. Put your left hand outside of the left foot and stretch the right arm forward. Straighten out the back leg more and hug the outer left hip underneath you. Press the left thigh out into the left bicep. And eventually reach the right arm straight up into the air. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Float the right leg off the floor and reach the right arm skywards. Roll the inner left knee to the outer left knee. Flex the right foot. Imagine you can land that footprint behind you. And keep reaching the right arm high as if something or someone is pulling you up into the ceiling. So in half moon and really every yoga pose we do, there's a part of us going in every which direction. Inhale. Warrior 2 is the exhale. Step the right foot back. And on an inhale, reverse tip back. Downward facing dog. Plant your palms and just step your left foot next to the right foot. To come into dolphin pose, bend into the elbows, hug the forearms in towards one another, and see if you can simultaneously land them on the floor. Keep your hands parallel with one another and your gaze right in between the forearms. Maybe you can walk your feet in a little closer than you did last time. Breathe here for 5, 4, 3, for 2. Press up, downward facing dog on 1. Ground your right heel down. Step your left foot forward. Warrior 1. Inhale, come up. So 5 breaths here. Bend into the front knee more and go down with your legs and hips. Imagine the shoulders are attached to your waistband as you reach the arms up high. Keep reaching the arms up. As you lean forward 45 degrees, tuck the back toes and lift the back right heel. Warrior 3, lift the right leg off the floor. And if you did something different on the first side, maybe you do that same thing differently here on the second. So reach the crown of the head forward like you could take a headstand on the wall in front of you. Flex through the right foot and turn the right big toe to point down into the floor. One more breath. Standing split into a forward fold. Step your right foot down to meet your left foot. Inhale, flat back. And on your exhale, plank to chaturanga, vinyasa, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up. Okay. Lower your knees to the floor and stand up on your shins. So we're going to set up for an Ustrasana camel pose. And what I'm going to have you do today is put your hands on your lower back with your fingertips pointing up. But if that is a little too much for the wrist, then you can turn your fingers to point down. Point your elbows back and roll your biceps forward. Remember this one? Press your feet and your shins into the floor. And then go up with your head and your chest. Maybe even look up and see where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you. And then once you've gone as high up as you can, maybe then you start to go back a little bit. If it's appropriate, walk your hands down your butt, your hamstrings, and if they're available, grab your heels. So when you're back bending like this, you want to go up first and then go back. I think sometimes people think that going back is the default, but going up is the default. Going back is the result. Inhale, stand up on your shins. Hinge at your hips. Exhale, sit on your heels, close your eyes, and stay upright here for just a few moments. Close your eyes and breathe. Now you flutter your eyes open. We're going to come into a dolphin pose. So lower your forearms to the mat. And again, make sure that when you lower your forearms down, they're parallel with one another. As you tuck your toes, lift your hips up high. Lift the right leg up into the air, come into a three-legged dolphin. And maybe this is where you stay. But if you would like to take 3 to 5 L-shaped Panchamayurasana hop, or just come up into your forearm stand, go for it. So your toes are lifting high. The inner lining of the legs is squeezing together, and your gaze is down in between your forearms. Once you've taken your 3 to 5 hops, lower your shins back to the floor and stand up. Okay, so we're gonna do that same thing that we just did, starting with camel pose. Place your hands on your lower back. So your thumb should be on either side of your sacrum, like right around your SI joint, if you're familiar with that. Point your elbows back and roll your biceps forward. So when you create that action with the arms, it lifts the chest up and initiates the back bend. Maybe look up to where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you. And if this was good for you on the first side, or maybe just feels a little better on the second, place your hands on your heels. Inhale, stand up on your shins. Exhale, hinge at your hips, sit on your heels, close your eyes, and stay vertical in your seat. Back into your breath. In and out of the nose, mouth is sealed. As you flutter your eyes open, lower your forearms down to the mat. And then tuck your toes and come up into a dolphin pose. Once you've made it up into your dolphin, lift the left leg up into a three-legged dolphin. It's a full breath in, and as you exhale, bend into the right leg, and maybe you can get some hops on this second side. Whoa! This is my bad side. I actually have a broken right toe, so I'm not quite back to where I want to be here. But that's why you show up to practice. Reach your toes up into the ceiling. Hug the inner leg together. Zip up the belly. And then when you're done, sit back down on your heels. Sit off to the side, roll the legs out in front of you. Step your feet down onto the floor. Lie down on your back. So I actually want to do one more back bend before we continue with our cool down. Set up for a bridge pose. Press your feet down and lift your hips up and into the air. Maybe this is where you stay, but if a wheel pose is speaking to you today, bring your hands out wide to frame your face. Come up onto the crown of the head first as you inhale. Wheel pose is the exhale. Straighten out the arms and legs. Press your feet down and forward to press your heart towards the back of the room. For 8, 7, 6, for 5, 4, 3, for 2, lower down on 1. Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide, eyes closed. Maybe reach the arms up and overhead to create a little bit more space between the shoulders and the hip bones. Mouth is still sealed. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling the belly rise and fall. Bend into your knees and step your feet onto the floor. Scoot your hips significantly over to the left. And find a simple twist over to the right. So your gaze is off over your left hand. Maybe you put the right hand on top of the left thigh just to add a little bit of a counterweight. Maybe with every exhale, you could imagine that somehow your left rib cage could melt down towards the mat. Slowly make your way back through center. And then second side. Scoot your hips significantly over to the right and find a gentle twist off to the left. Maybe your gaze can go over on the right hand this side. Maybe you start to incorporate this as a part of your Shavasana. And then come back through center. And we'll finish with the happy baby. So grab a hold of the feet, possibly the shins, and press your tailbone down into the floor. If you'd like, maybe roll the lower back and the sacrum on the yoga mat. So you try to pull the knees down to the floor outside of your rib cage. . We'll eventually meet in Shavasana. Of course, if there's anything I have not offered you get here today that your practice is not complete without, take these last few moments of class for yourself. And if you want a little bit more support for the lower back here today, I'd highly recommend either blocks or maybe a bolster underneath your knees. Closing the eyes, beginning to settle down into your stillness. Full breath in. Open up the mouth, audible exhale, let it go. No more work, no more effort. Shavasana. If you are prepared to leave Shavasana, begin to deepen the breath and invite some smaller movements back into your body. Wiggling your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet, maybe even rolling your head side to side. Bend into your knees, step your feet onto the floor. Reach the right arm overhead so the bicep is by the ear and your hand rests on the floor. Using the upper arm as a pillow, roll off to the right into a fetal position. Keeping the eyes closed and using the as little effort as possible, please make your way up into a comfortable seat facing your monitors. And then as soon as you find your seat, sit up a little bit taller. We always can. To seal in your practice, please bring your hands to a prayer position at your heart. Guiding the thumb knuckles up and into the sternum, please invite a full belly breath. Fill up. Open up the mouth. Exhale, let it go. Thumb knuckles to your forehead, your third eye center. Thank you for sharing your practices with me today. Go in peace. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. That is it for me for today. But as always, if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, or even feedback, let me know in the comments section below. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Take care.